What up, Tifos? Danny Brams here with another edition of Decoding the Presser. I'm here in a brand new location. Just spent the last couple of weeks moving to a new town home, I should say, in Central Charlotte. A little bit closer to the stadium, a little bit closer to work. Life is good in Danny Brams land. Cannot complain at all. I got my Ashley Westwood painting from my good friends over at Defend the Queen. Love the work done over there. And we're here to talk Tim Ream, folks. You may have heard one of our latest podcast episodes on the Charlotte Soccer Show feed. Maybe people thought I was shitting on the Ream signing. I was never shitting on the Ream signing. I'm happy to welcome Tim Ream to this club and this squad. Not a huge fan of the way that he was rolled out as a designated player style for someone who is just going to be sort of, a depth piece, maybe a sometime starter and things like that. But I'm anxious to hear from Ream. He spoke much earlier today, because I'm recording this late at night. I've had a long, busy day. And I decided, hey, before I go to bed, I got to decode the damn presser. So look forward to hearing from Tim. I think this is a long one, so we could be in for a while. But saddle up, listen in. We lost Calvin Stengs today. The Miguel Almiron rumors kind of are not really panning out. At one point, Giovanni Lo Celso was thrown into the mix as a potential inquiry that we had made. So who knows if we're actually going to sign a player on deadline day of the transfer window. I don't really think we are. I don't think the DP's coming. But hey, you never know. Anything can happen. Zoran, we presume, is over in England making something happen. Maybe he'll just go down to a local five-a-side pitch and sign whoever scores the most goals. Who knows? But let's listen to Tim Ream, who is here, and go from there.
Timmy, how would you feel your first couple days have been while being here at the club?
I feel right at home with the weather, I'll tell you that much. But no, I feel great.
England weather joke right off the top. You got to love that.
Everything that we discussed last week. Only had a few training sessions now, but just getting back into the swing of things. But feeling really good, feeling really welcome.
I know when we talked, you kind of expressed disappointment about not being able to be here in time for Leagues Cup, but it almost kind of feels like this period of time is like a second preseason for these guys. Does that kind of transfer over to what you've kind of seen so far with the first couple of sessions with the club?
Yeah, it helps me because it's my only preseason at this point. So, yeah, it's nice. I know we a lot of the guys were given a good number of days off to kind of rejuvenate. Guys have played a lot of minutes. Today felt like a real preseason, and I'm sure it felt like a second preseason for a lot of the guys with the session that we had and the extra running that we've done at the end. So it would have been nice to have actual meaningful games to play, but at the same time, this gives us an opportunity to really gel and come together for the last 9 games of the season.
Extra running reminds me of Scotty Arfield's comments at the beginning of this year. Seems like a long damn time ago, especially since Scotty's no longer with the club. But you remember Scotty when we were first getting to know who Dean Smith was, and they were training out in Coachella and whatnot in Florida. And he said it's a very British preseason, just running. And I guess you could say that's paid off. I mean, Charlotte FC is better late in games, and they're very good on defense and tracking back. Tim Ream seems like a no-nonsense dude so far. This is really my first real exposure to him speaking. I'm familiar with his game, but not familiar with his press conference game, which we're all finding out about now.
What are you noticing from guys like Malanda and Privet specifically?
Your competition?
We're just trying to form partnerships at this point. There's been a lot of mixing and matching in the couple training sessions that we've had. I think the one thing that stuck out to me is the communication aspect, and I know those guys are young, and that I was the same way when I first played in the league, and I was 22, 23 years old. It was not something that you're completely comfortable or accustomed to. So that's something that I've tried to at least have a little bit of discussion with them in terms of how do we and how do they get better is communicating, and it solves a lot of problems before they arise. So But yeah, watching him play, obviously, Addy's a very very technical player, very good player, good with the ball, very physical, and Priv is very technical himself. Very good with the ball and very calm, very I think beyond what his age is and the development that he's had. So he reminds me of me when I first started, which I hope bodes well. But yeah, just watching those two kind of play together and then seeing them individually has been good to understand how they operate and how they work.
So he's not really shitting on the youngsters there, but he is kind of staking his claim and asserting his place, I think, and saying, hey, these guys are not quite at the level I'm at. I know how to communicate a little better than they do. Tim Ream, whether we think he should be starting over, our league best young center back pairing or not, whether I think that, Ream obviously didn't come here with the intention of being on the bench, and he thinks clearly from that comment, it's clear that he thinks he should start over one of these guys.
What are you hoping maybe to add, just kind of in the immediate impact, given that there's 8 or 9 MLS matches left?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is experience. I've obviously seen a lot of situations, a lot of game situations, a lot of different kind of things play out in a lot of games over the years, and it's just kind of seeing patterns and seeing how things play out, seeing things before they develop and as they develop. So hopefully, there was a situation in training the other day where I think, Addy really wanted to get after a guy and ended up running past one of the midfielders and just having conversations after the fact, like, if we do that, we leave gaps behind us and put other people in trouble. So yeah, just bringing experience and understanding, what each situation and certain situations call for in terms of whether we're stepping out or whether we're staying solid and staying a unit. So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, bringing the experience and the understanding that what each and every play, but each and every game brings.
He's not wrong there. When Charlotte FC does give up goals, it tends to be when guys find gaps, and some of our younger players, try too hard a little bit, you would say. And again, this is Ream telling us that he thinks he's bringing something to this club that we need, and he could be right. Who am I to question? He knows a lot more about how to organize defensive backlines than I do. I'm excited to see if he can come in. When I think when we recorded the most recent episode that was reacting to Ream's signing, I wasn't sure if he was going to be a starter or not. But now, as hearing some things and seeing the training sessions and seeing the rollout and all that, I'm kind of starting to change my mind on that. I think there's a good chance he does take Andrew Privett's starting spot here. We'll see. Who knows? It could be the type of thing where guys rotate and could depend on who does best in training that week. We know Dean likes to lean that way, but Ream is here to play for sure.
Steve?
Hey, Tim. Welcome to Charlotte.
Thank you.
You've only played for 3 clubs in your professional career.
Mm-hmm.
First 2 in New York and stuff, but you had been at Chicago academy team?
PDL, yeah. I guess it would fall under USL now.
Did they have any rights to you before that, or so it was a clean draft for New York?
Yep.
With that? Now, in the transitions you made, because just a couple of years here in MLS before you went over to Bolton, how was the transition, like you're making now into this team? How do you compare it to like going into Bolton and then later going to Fulham?
The way I always treat any transition is you have to go in and you have to earn your place. You have to obviously take care of what you can off the field and make sure that you're settled and doing the right things off the field, and then come in and just put your head down and work. And I don't think that changes no matter what your age is, how many clubs you've played for, how many countries you've played in. I think the basis of having a long career is putting your head down and just getting after the work, understanding what is being asked of you, understanding what is being asked of the team, and then going out and doing it. Whatever the manager is going to ask you to do, you put your head down and you do it. And if that's being being the first guy off the bench, or if it's being the first name on the team sheet, and starting a game. You have to just put your head down and work. And I think that makes the transition a little bit easier, because at the end of the day, it's a simple game that we're playing, and if you go in and do things simple and put in the work, the rest will take care of itself.
Because sometimes you go in.
I do love that answer. I do love that answer from Mr. Ream.
Talking with the Harks and other guys who've done that even at the earliest point, you're coming in and people see you as competition for their job, for their livelihood, and so it can be very contentious sometimes. Like that. Did you ever experience anything like that?
Yeah, I think you do, but I think we all understand as professionals that's natural. I don't think, no matter what profession you're in, someone new comes in, your eyes kind of open a little bit bigger, and you feel like you have to put your chest out a little bit more and work a little bit harder. And so, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's any contention within the changing room or anything like that. It's competition, and competition, helps you improve. It can help you be better on and off the field. And I think ultimately that's the goal is to continue to improve and look at each and every single day as itself, and continue to try to improve each day that you come in.
You had mentioned age.
Singing from the same hymnal as Dean Smith there, competition for places makes everybody better.
Too old for the team.
Tend to agree.
Until you weren't.
I'm liking where Ream's going with a lot of his answers. These are direct questions, and he's answering them well.
And that's something that, it's always going to be a factor, but how long, is age just a number? Is it something you take, or are you going to be the American Pepe?
Not really an issue.
Yeah, for me, as long as I feel good, I'm going to keep going. People, you can't get around your age, unfortunately. I wish I could. I wish I could change it and go back and continue to play forever, but it doesn't happen. I don't really look at my age as a hindrance. I actually look at it as a positive. Like I said before, I've seen a lot of things. I've played a lot of games, experienced a lot of different situations, and it's up to me to use that to my advantage. So, I'll play as long as I feel physically and mentally good, which I do. So, people will always talk about it. It's always going to be. I can't get any younger. I'm only continuing to get older, as we all are. So, I'm not worried about it. It's one of those things that I embrace it. And in fact, I know I've said this previously. I look at it and I still try to compare myself to, the guys who were 20, 21, 22, who are within the team, and what are they doing physically? Okay, I need to be matching that physically or better, because that's the way you stay in the game. As soon as you start to think, okay, I can take my foot off the gas, and okay, fine, I am 36. The young guys, they're going to be faster, stronger, more physical. They're going to be more fit. You start to lose it. For me, I'm always comparing myself to the youngest guy on the team and the fittest guy on the team.
But that's where the wisdom comes.
Another great answer from Timmy there.
Yeah.
Hey,
I like his smile, too.
It was nice talking to you last week.
Yep.
Nice to see you face to face. It's been a while since you've been in the MLS. Have you kind of watched it
saying the
develop, or do
MLS.
you think it's going to be a little different this time around?
I have watched it from afar, until the Apple deal came in. Didn't really get too many games over there, so really was only able to see it in the off season when we would
Shout out
back.
Apple TV.
It's definitely developed. It's definitely improved. There was the reason I left in the first place because I thought my development, I needed to move on for more development, and now looking at it now, I'm looking at this team and there's still a long way to go. There's still a lot of guys who can develop further, but it's so much further than what it was when I first came in. And I had guys to learn off of, like Thierry Henry. And so the
best ever.
The situation was a little bit different, but looking at it now, it's incredible where it was to where it is now. And it's part of why I felt comfortable and ready to make the move and come back, because it is such a higher level now.
A little bit more technical?
Classic
more
answer.
Faster?
I
I
did
wouldn't
love
say
the
it's
Apple
physical.
TV
I'd
show.
definitely say it's definitely more technical. I think there's more of a focus on being technical, but also being tactically astute, being fully aware of in-game situations, to where before it was okay, let's just run over people, let's just run past people, let's just be physical, and we'll win that way. And now it's, you have to find different ways to win games, and I think that's a sign of the league developing, but I think it's also a sign of the players developing, and managers developing, and bringing in better managers, better players, and developing all those players in the meantime.
Red
Have
Bull's
you-
still.
I don't know. I think he's kind of mischaracterizing the MLS of 10 years
Have you
ago.
heard from
But
anybody?
to each their own.
Since
He
this
knows.
has become public knowledge.
I thought it was
Did
still
their
pretty
reaction
technical once
kind of
Beckham got here.
Get you funny, or you were glad to hear from, or people say you're crazy, or smart, or I don't know.
Who have I not heard from? I think I just made it through all the messages and all the phone calls by Saturday or Sunday. So obviously I was in here, announced Wednesday, and I think I finally made it through everything Saturday.
Zero
But
inbox
no,
read.
I
I
think
like
everybody,
that.
mostly it's just excitement. Congratulations. They know this is it's a big deal. It's a big deal to make this decision and make a big change. But also I think I've formed so many amazing and incredible relationships because of this game, because of what I've been able to do, that I think it's mostly just happiness for my family than anything, and I think that's the coolest thing, is that you're not getting the congratulations and everything from a soccer standpoint. You're getting it from a personal standpoint, and for me that matters more than anything to do with on-field stuff. The off-field stuff and the relationships formed over many years is pretty incredible.
Have they
I'm
been-
happy that you're happy with your family, Tim, but most fans would rather
Family.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
the
they just
congratulations
see
be
it.
about the soccer
Yeah,
aspect
so
of it.
we-
Just letting you know
We figured
that.
everything out last week. They flew in yesterday, and they're waiting for me. We're actually going to tour a school today, where they're going to start next week. So getting there. It's been a long drawn out process, but we're getting there finally.
And just lastly, I guess, have you kind of clicked with some of the guys yet? Are there any, personalities
Who's your
you
friends, Tim?
respond to, or players you've been surprised
Who's your new
by?
bestie?
No, honestly, I try to connect with all the guys. I think it's important to, again, we talked about forming partnerships and relationships with everybody, and even just grabbing little bits here and there from each and every single player, whether they're close to my age, Westy, or younger, and the really young guys who are coming through. So yeah, just being able to sit next to guys in the changing rooms, sit next to guys at lunch. I wouldn't say there's anybody that I've gravitated towards yet, but there's definitely good characters within the team.
Very
and
diplomatic,
they're all
very
good
political,
characters. I
Tim.
think that's probably the most important thing, is that there doesn't seem to be any bad eggs, so to speak, and that's a really good sign of a healthy club.
I like that. Don't lock in on anybody yet, Tim.
Before we go to the Zoom. So
Keep
we're-
your options open
It
for
would
best
seem
friend.
conventional with your experience that you probably have been drafted by the leadership committee, and Westy, a big part of that. What's more kind of have been like with your relationship with him in terms of what you've got to absorb from the captain in terms of where the culture is around the team and what's needed from you?
Him and I are in a little bit of a tug-of-war right now. I'm trying to rub off on him, and he's trying to rub off on me, even though I've only been here for a week. So,
Wow.
no, listen, just kind of taking his lead, understanding what's going on within the entire club, really, not just the playing side, and understanding kind of where where he puts himself and tries to take the role and the lead. And I'm happy to play that kind of understudy at the minute. We've not had any in-depth conversations. He's he's more the typical English joker for the time being. I hope we can sit down and have a little bit more serious conversation, but I don't know that he has that in him. So we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, we're in a bit of a tug of war. He's trying to get me onto his side, and I'm trying to get him into the gym a little bit more.
Wow.
Would you say who's winning?
That's based on performance, asking me to help out, but I would say it's a stalemate at the minute. But we'll see. He has stepped foot in there a few times since I've been in, so maybe I have the upper hand at the minute.
You mentioned
That's an incredibly revealing answer from Mr. Ream. That's the best thing I've heard, or most revealing thing I've heard, so far. For him to say, I mean, is it a tug of war, or are you happy to be the understudy? You kind of told us two different things there, Tim, and we're not sure which is which, but I kind of like it. He's not afraid to come into a new team, and he's the experienced guy. He's been around the block quite a bit, and it doesn't matter if Westwood's the captain. He's going to assert, what he thinks Westwood should be doing. Get in the gym more, Westy. Quit joking around so much. We're trying to get to the playoffs here, so could be a good thing. Could be a source of friction. I'm not sure. We'll have to see how it plays out. But clearly, Tim Ream is not backing down to anyone, even the much respected captain of Charlotte FC. Quite an interesting answer there for sure.
when we talked last week about how important the off-the-field aspect was for you guys and your family, what were some of the things that you heard about Charlotte from people, whether it's inside soccer, outside soccer? What specifically about being here gravitated you toward this situation?
Yeah, I think I enjoy, well, within the team, within the club, I enjoy, seeing younger players develop. I enjoy, being able to have, like I said, the conversations and creating the personal relationships and helping guys improve every single day. It's something that helped me a lot when I was first in the league, and something that I've tried to carry on, especially as I've gotten older and become more of a leader within the teams that I played on. But I think off the field, just hearing so many people speak highly of the city and the surrounding area, how great it is for families, how great it is for young families, and finding areas that help us kind of settle in, and there were many different areas that we felt were good places for us to be, but really it boiled down to where's the best place for professionally, but at the end of the day, where's the best place for my family, for my kids, and this was top, and we heard so many good things from so many different people who didn't know each other, and they were all confirming the same things, how great it was, how connected it was, how family oriented it was, and that was really what sold it for us.
Listen, family first. I get it. I can't be mad at a guy for making a decision to make his family life better, and I love raising my own small family here in Charlotte. I'm not going to begrudge it. I got to say, though, as a soccer fan, it's not the message we really want to hear as diehard supporters of this club. I think it would sound a lot better to hear, oh, I came to Charlotte FC because I believe in this team 100%. Number one priority is the potential to take this project to the next level. I wanted to play for Dean Smith. I wanted to play alongside Ashley Westwood. I mean, I get it. He's at the stage of his career where family, and it's nice. I'm glad that Charlotte's great family atmosphere was part of the selling point. But to hear it mentioned as one of the main things, it's a little disheartening to me as a fan. I know I'm going to come across as a hater for saying that. And Tim, if I ever meet you, we could talk about it, I guess. But man, it's not quite the message that I want to hear as a super fan of this club. When our only signing of the window here, with about 24 hours left in it as I'm taping this, is talking about, I just came here because I wanted a cool place to raise my family. I mean, we want people to come in here because they want to play and take this club and this team to the next level this year. But we'll see.
Steve,
And going back to when you were playing for St. Louis, you were probably here in Charlotte a few times to play UNCC.
Mm-hmm.
It was before Bronico was there, but as I recall, that wasn't the strongest point in Billiken soccer history, and Charlotte probably took most of those. But you didn't get a chance to see a lot of the city then, but.
No, and that's actually been one of the questions I've gotten the most is, when was the last time you were here? And I tell everyone, well, probably 15 years ago, when I was at SLU, at St. Louis U, and we were playing those games. But yeah, you're right. We didn't get to see much. We were at UNC Charlotte and playing games. I would probably have to concur that they got the better hand of us most of those years.
Go Niners.
But it's one of those, looks like I got the upper hand. I'm sitting here, and a lot of those guys probably aren't. So, no, he is not. We've not had that discussion.
Like you're before he came.
Yeah, like you said, I'm a little bit older than most. So yeah, it's pretty understandable. I don't know that he even knows that I would have gone to SLU. He probably doesn't even know that.
But that's one of the.
Probably doesn't care, to be perfectly honest.
Soccer schools.
15, 16 years
just being
ago,
from St. Louis,
NCAA soccer.
which, waited a long time even after Charlotte to get their MLS team, but it's been such a core of soccer culture in this country for a while. How much does that inform who you are as a person and as a player?
Yeah, it's huge. It was my entire development. I didn't leave there until I was 22 years old, which, I think says a lot about, how comfortable I was, but B, how good the development was for me. And yes, I am a late bloomer. I was a late bloomer. Guys can seemingly leave high school now and sign a homegrown and make it in the professional ranks, and I was like a stick figure until I was probably 20 years old, and there was no way physically that I would be able to do that. So yeah, it plays a huge part. Playing for two, if not the best youth development coach in the state of Missouri, in Tommy Howe, for Gallagher. Yeah, he was at Gallagher, and then being able to stay close to home and play at a university like SLU. It was all of my upbringing really in the game, and I credit it, and I have credited it many times over the years with shaping me as a player and as a person.
Getting really into the weeds here.
Go to a couple
hey.
people on the Zoom. Charles,
not?
start with you, and then Peter and Ben will come to you after that. Charles, go ahead.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, thanks. Congrats on coming home. And I use home to refer to the U.S., but it seemed like London was such a comfortable home for you for such a long time. And when we talked last year, it seemed like you were just right in the mix and riding the tiger at Fulham. So I just wonder, how did the process unfold for you and your family of the timeline, the decision, and maybe the conversations or the relationship with Charlotte unfold over this last period?
Yeah, it was home, and I think for us it was somewhere that was comfortable. Our the kids were in school. We had been there, like you said, for 9 years, and I don't know. We started to have conversations after, my wife and I, after Nations League, and we started to kind of feel a pull to come back, family wise, not just my immediate family and my kids and my wife, but closer to her family, closer to my family. But not too close, obviously, and so yeah, we just had a lot of conversations. There were a few things that happened in our own kind of lives throughout the course of last season that I think was kind of the beginning of the snowball, so to speak. But we didn't really sit down and have serious conversations until after Nations League, and then I sat down with Fulham, immediately after the season finished, and kind of told them where I was, how I felt, how the family felt, and kind of what we were thinking, and then from there it was just making some phone calls and deciding what the best fit was, and obviously we ended up here because we felt like this was the very best fit for us as a family. And at the end of the day, I've always said that, you know, and everybody can look back at all the interviews they want to look at and the videos, and you know, I get to do this because of them, because of my wife, because of you know, the sacrifices that they make, and there are a lot of things that I've missed, and a lot of times that they've been put second, and it was time to decide that they were, you know, they needed to come first in this situation. So that's really what it boiled down to, is putting them first, while still being able to do what I love to do, and that's play the game. And this was the opportunity that came up, and one that we grabbed with both hands.
Listen, I'll say it again. I can't be mad at him. You can't, you know, begrudge someone for making a family-oriented decision. But when the family reasons are trumping the footballing reasons, you can't expect us as super crazy fans of this club to be like, oh, this is great. You know, every person is a human. These are humans. I'm not trying to take away your humanity, Mr. Ream. And you got to do what you got to do for your family. Everybody knows that. But again, continuing to harp on that, the most exciting thing for fans who want to see signings come in to make this team better and see this team go to MLS Cup. Just going to say, I got to say it. I got to reiterate it. I'm sorry. Call me the asshole. Maybe I am, but that's the way I see it.
That's a great question. I don't know. I left that to my agent, and when he said this was going to be the best fit, I had, you know, a few conversations with Zorn and Bobby and the manager, and you know, from that point on, it was only going to be here, and we, you know, we dove in head first, from that first conversation, and made sure to find, you know, schools first, and then try to find a place to live, and you know, sort everything else from there.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Charles. Peter.
Hi, Tim. It's good to see you.
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed you didn't fly here, Peter.
I do love a lot of the UK reporters checking in. I mean, when people say Ream raises our profile on the global stage, they're not wrong about that.
Congratulations on the move, Tim. I just wanted to follow up a little bit on what Charles was asking there. It seems like a very personal decision, this move. I was wondering, you know, from a professional standpoint, how you were feeling towards the end of the season, and how Fulham were with you in terms of there was still a place for you there. Was that the case, and this was just a decision that you felt was right for your family, or what was the professional context as well?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I sat down, like I said, the day after the season finished, and sat down with Marco, and we had a good chat, and I told him, and they wanted me to stay. They did. They tried to push me to stay and you know, really think about it. But as you know, over many conversations, you know, it's not so much once I get something in my head that I go for it, but I really think through things, and I really, you know, we had really thought through this whole move, and it was, yeah, for us personally, as a family, it was the right thing to do. It was time to move on, and there was a difficult period of back and forth, you know, where we thought, okay, it potentially may not come to fruition and may not happen, but in the end, I think both sides understood each other really well, as you would expect after spending 9 years together, and we're able to come to a conclusion, and at the same time grab a player to come in to fill my void, and that was really the end of it. You know, I think if I can, you know, I've thanked them, because I know I put them in a difficult spot, you know, by signing, you know, a year extension last January or whatever time it was, and then going to them, and so I knew that it was going to be, you know, a little bit of a back and forth, but at the end of the day, I think, again, when you've been somewhere for so long and you understand the club and the club understands you, I think, you know, we all came to a pretty good conclusion to it.
There was that little
Can't say I don't
delay,
respect it.
and you mentioned obviously Fulham bringing in someone to replace you. Was that purely the basis of the delay? Was there any uncertainty in that period? Because it seemed like, from my understanding of, you know, the deal progressing, it took a little bit of time to get us over the line.
Yeah, that was the only delay really, is that they wanted to make sure that they had somebody to come in. You know, from our standpoint, it was a little bit. It was a little bit strange because I wasn't training with the team anyway. I'd been given time off after Copa America, so that was the only. I think for us, we were like, well, I'm not training anyway, so it's not like, you know, you're going to be missing out on me. But once I had spoken to the manager, and he had told me that they were working on a few things behind the scenes. It was just a matter of when, not if, and just kind of sitting back and waiting and knowing that the time would come. It was just when that time would come.
Interesting to know. If he wasn't training, then why wasn't he here? You know, like, why did they Fulham hold back so long from coming? Could have helped us in Leagues Cup, maybe.
I was wondering, you know, at the end of the season,
Kind of
did you
drag.
have an idea at that point of that Luton game? Did you feel like you got your
Come on,
goodbye
Fulham.
with the support?
What the hell are you
at
doing?
that moment?
I feel like I did. I don't think, obviously they didn't know, and I don't know that anything would have been much different. It was a pretty special moment to end that way. I've actually been thinking about it. And my first game was played at right center back. My 300th game was played against. My first game was at right center back against Sheffield United. My 300th game was Sheffield United. My last game for Fulham was right center back. So it's funny how the game comes in circles. So yeah, it was nice. For me, I think from all the messages that are still trickling in, I think they would like a proper goodbye, and I'm sure I'll make my way back there at some point when the season here is finished. But I had as long as the club was in agreement, I knew that was probably going to be the last time that I set foot on a pitch for the club, and it was a pretty special moment. But I think more than anything, as I've always said, the relationships and the everything that's formed through 9 years, the messages that have come through have been, it's been emotional to be completely honest with you, as you would expect. And to think that some kids are telling me, I came to my first game at 8 and now I'm 17, and you've always been there. I think when those messages come through, and the messages from parents saying that their kids are upset, it's nice that you've had that kind of impact on people and on a club.
Very human
I'm sure
moment.
to see you back
I can't be
in
mad at
soon,
that.
And I'm sure that's something you plan in the near future.
Yeah, for sure. I've already been in contact with a few people there to try to plan out a time to come back. Obviously, my complete focus is here for at least the next 9 games, and then going into the playoffs and
Better be more than 9.
Yeah, we'll see what happens after that. We'll have some time off, I'm sure, and I'll be able to come back and
win MLS Cup
say
here.
a proper goodbye.
Just on a personal standpoint, it's always been a pleasure to deal with you two. So I wish you all the best, Charlotte, and thank you for your time.
Thanks, Peter.
Who says the English
All right,
media are
final one
bastards?
here, Ben Jacobs.
Hey Tim, Ben Jacobs from TalkSport. Congratulations on your move. Just wanted to come back, if I could, to age. And you said earlier that you just want to keep playing. But if I can ask you a little bit more explicitly, can you confirm that you're definitely looking for selection for the World Cup in America 2026?
I mean, yeah. I think there's.
Do you want to play in
no
the World
reason
Cup? Yes.
That I shouldn't be. I understand that that playing is an important part of that. But I'm not going to take myself out of a hat just because people want me to, or people think I'm too old. I don't see the point of that. Like I said before, it's a matter of just continuing to put my head down. And if I get picked, I get picked. If I don't, I don't. It's one of those things that it's partially under my control and partially not. And when when it comes down to hiring a manager and the manager does or doesn't pick me, then that's his prerogative and something that you have to deal with and live with. But I'm not taking my name out of the hat or retiring from the national team by any means. Like I said, I won't do that until I retire fully. So yeah, my name's fully there, and if I'm there, great. If I'm not, then that's someone else's decision.
That answer fires me up. I love to hear it.
A lot will depend on the new manager coming in. As a player, do you have a preference? Do you think that the manager on a home World Cup should be
Klopp.
American, or
Hire
would
Klopp.
it be more beneficial
Let's do
to have
it.
somebody come in with pedigrees such as Maurizio and Pochettino, who's been linked with the vacancy?
I don't care. For me, it's whoever is there, you have to perform. Whoever's there, you have to work hard. Whoever's there, you have to put your head down and do the things that you don't necessarily want to do every day. So whether it's someone with pedigree, whether it's someone who's American, whether it's someone who's American that has pedigree, whether it's someone from Mars, you're still going to have to go in and still perform. You're still going to have to go in and train hard every day. You're still going to go in and have to prove yourself at your club and prove yourself within the group with the national team. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who's in there. You have to go and prove yourself each and every single day, each and every single training session, and that won't ever change. It doesn't matter who the manager will be.
Amazing soundbite there. Tim Ream wants a Martian coach for the U.S. men's national team.
Amazing
Put
and
it in
relatively
headlines.
new training facility. You've got Christian Fuchs working at the club, who's about 2 years older than you, and he's transitioned from playing into coaching. Have you thought about life after football, and have you got any aspirations to go into coaching?
This guy's really reinforcing.
Yes, I have thought about life after, and no, I have
no.
no aspirations of going into coaching. These guys work
He's a player.
just as hard as we do, if not harder.
He's here to play.
And the amount of going back to family, again, I said this before, people will be so annoyed with me, I'm sure, by the end of my time here, that I only talk about my family. But, with all the national team responsibilities,
Yes.
with all the traveling, with all the games, with all the preseason and the trips you take away and the things that you miss out on, it would be even greater if I go straight into a coaching role. And I have the utmost respect for those who do go into coaching, but I also understand how much time that I've already put into the game and how much time my family has not had me at their disposal, and not had me under the same roof. So it's not something that I'm looking at. I won't ever say never, but it's definitely not something that is on my radar at this point.
At least Tim's self-aware enough to know that some people are annoyed to hear nothing about family, mostly about family and not as much about football.
As well. What do you think Fulham are capable of this season?
cares?
I think they're capable of top half. I think as we, I said it last year, as long as you hold on to Marco, then the club will be fine. He'll work his magic and he'll put guys into succeed and he'll put. He'll improve the guys that maybe haven't played as much, and they'll slot right in. So there's no doubt in my mind that they can finish top half. We were inconsistent last year, but I think with a little bit of more consistency, and as long as Marco stays, I think they're going to be in a good spot this year as well.
These Brits are just monopolizing our press conference.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Ben. Thanks for the extended time, Tim. We'll wrap up there. Thanks, everyone.
One last one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Dean Smith has an agreement with the back line of, if they keep a clean sheet, they get one.
I've heard this.
Right. So
I heard he's behind on payment as well.
Nathan
What are your
Byrne.
thoughts on that?
My thoughts are, which is what I told you, is that I will hold him accountable, and he better pay up for the guys who have been here. But I like it.
He's
it's
paid
good.
up. He's no longer behind on his payments.
Because it's such a young back line that they're really into wine.
Have you figured out who drinks the most?
No,
Okay.
not at all. It's none of my business. As long as they're performing.
You've been in London for a decade, you're definitely gonna have one.
Wine?
Well, no, in general.
Oh, I like wine. So if he wants to pay me in wine, he can pay me in
Red or
wine.
white?
I'm a red
Doesn't
guy.
like wine.
Can I just ask one more question about Privet being a young guy?
Me and Johnny
playing
Hayes drink the
alongside?
most is the answer to that question, by the
He's
way,
a
right?
competitive guy, you're a competitive guy. Do you
But you
come
should
in
know
and
by now.
kind of go out of your way to be like, I'm, not make him feel awkward, or, like, how do you?
No, I think you just come in and you just be yourself. Obviously, we're all competitive, or else we wouldn't be here. I think that's pretty normal. But no, I don't think there's no awkwardness. There's no kind of looking at each other, like sizing each other up. It's more, okay, how, and then I said this last week, how can I add to the group? I'm not trying to subtract from the group. I'm trying to add to the group. How do him and I form a partnership? How do Addie and myself form a partnership? What does their partnership look like? And that's just looking at things and studying film and understanding the way each of them play, because they both play, they play differently, as we all do. We all play differently from each other, and it's just understanding. But no, there's nothing. I didn't come in and look at him and he look at me and yeah, good one. We'll see out on the field. It's completely normal coming in and knowing that there are going to be challenges, knowing that we're all in competition. It's not just Priv and I, or not just Addie and I, Bill and I. Like we're all. It's a constant kind of rotation.
Shout out.
It's a constant understanding of each other and trying to understand each other's game as quickly as possible.
Cool. All right. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
So there you have it, folks. Tim Ream. I think this Tim Ream kid's going to work out all right. I like most of what he said about football there, and I think he has the right attitude in terms of talking about the competition for places and where he fits into the mix and everything and the partnerships. Wish that we just had a little more focus on that than on, I moved here because it was the best place for my family. I don't need to reiterate all that. But that's just my take. I'm a family man. I love my family. It's all good. I've made professional decisions based on family as well, but hey, it is what it is. Can't wait to see Ream out on the field. Very excited for him to be a member of this club. Don't get it twisted. Charlotte Soccer Show loves Tim Ream. Maybe we'll get him on the show sometime. You never know. But as it goes, also a big fan of Privet and Malonda back there as the best center back pairing on the very best defense in the league. So wouldn't mind seeing that continue and just seeing Ream and Big Bill get in the mix a little bit more for some consistency and depth and strength and all that. So long way to go this season. We got a lot more than 9 games. If everything works out, it's going to be Thanksgiving or Christmas before Tim Ream makes that return trip to Fulham to say goodbye to the fans, and we'll let it go. Really love the thing. He really keep an eye on the whole Westwood and Ream dynamic, because that was probably the most interesting thing I heard, was the way that he was kind of like talked about the tug-of-war between him and Westwood, and maybe I don't think they're mad at each other. It seemed like it was all in good spirits, but something to keep an eye on maybe at the next open training session, and certainly if Ream's out there on the pitch as a starter or as a sub or whatever. We're counting down the weeks still to go until the next match at Bank of America Stadium at the versus the hated New York Red Bulls. I will be there. Hope you will be there. Cannot wait. And living the Ream dream, y'all. It's Decoding the Presser. It was a long one. Thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for always sticking with Charlotte Soccer Show. It's for the crown, baby.